Hey everybody, Carl here. And I think I got the sunblock behind me, so hope that looks okay. I wanted to bring you an update on what's going on with me health-wise. For those of you that have followed me for several years now, know that my health is kind of iffy, goes here and there at times, and I have had some issues. So every now and then I like to kind of update everybody, and and other people do that too, because there's a lot of people that care. Like I care when people that I watch and consider friends, when they have health issues, I like to kind of keep in with what's going on, so I know what's going on, and so I always thought I'll just share what's happening with me also. Okay, first of all, because my heart condition, I have that diastolic heart failure stuff. I go and I get tested every. Well, they were doing every year. Now they're doing every 6 months, and because of my size, they do CT scans. Well, last year when they were doing a CT scan, they found what's called a abdominal aortic aneurysm, the AAA. And what that is, it's a part of your aorta, where your aorta comes out of the top of your heart. It goes up, it feeds the arteries and that for your head, for your brain, and then it continues and it drops down, and it goes through your abdomen area, and then it goes into the leg, and it feeds the blood to the legs, which is the iliac area. Well, and I do have a couple aneurysms in that area too, but they're not real bad. But this one that's in the abdominal area, and it's for men over 65 that smoked. I'll touch on that in a little bit. It happens, and what it is your artery will get weak, and it will start like a balloon. It will start to expand in an area, and as it expands, the wall's thin, just like a balloon. When you have a balloon, it's kind of thick. When you blow it up, that rubber stretches, and that rubber starts to get thin. And the danger of that is if it grows and it gets too big, it can rupture. And if it ruptures, that's pretty much it. I mean, you're not gonna go and get scheduled for surgery for it. You're gonna probably not make it to the ER. So, if you guys remember John Ritter, he died from that, and he was like, not feeling good, also, and bing, that went, and he was gone. And then that happens. But today because they do test, and in people that, in my case, they will have symptoms that maybe that's something we should check. They can dial in on that, and get a handle on it and get it fixed. So what's happening with me? All right, they found it around last June. It was like at 4.5, which is 4.5 centimeters, which is that's big. It's not a concern for surgery yet, but it's something they got to watch, and then that's why, and then they'll watch it every 6 months. Well, I went and had another CT scan about 3-4 weeks ago, and they found that it had grown in that time period to like 5.4. So it's grown 0.8, which is almost a centimeter, and that's where the flags start going, ooh. So we got probably should do something about this. Now, there's 2 types of surgeries that they do for this. The first one, which is the scary one, they do what's called open surgery. And what they do is they open they open your chest and your stomach wide open. They have to crack your rib cage, because they have to actually get to the heart and lift it out a bit along with your liver, to get to the area that they have to put this wrap around. And it's very dangerous. It's very serious surgery. Well, the odds, they say, are between 8 out of 10 out of 100 don't make it through the surgery or the first 30 days after surgery. So those are not good odds, okay? But sometimes that's the only option you have. Now, the other option is an endoscopic surgery, where they take a stent and they run it from the artery in your leg, and they run it up and they run it into that area, and they have ways where that little stent like hooks on to different areas, and they open it up in there, and so they fix it from the inside instead of the outside. That way, you're not being opened wide up. Now this has its dangers too. I mean, anytime you're messing with the main arteries in there, if something goes, you go too. So, but this is like 10 times safer, and the only downside of it is sometimes you have to go in and get repairs on it. Although that's it's constantly being improved on and stuff. But it's still better to have to go in and maybe have it repaired or even replaced within a couple of years than trying to do the open surgery. I, for one, I don't have a family living with me. I live by myself. My girlfriend is an RN, and she's went with me, and she's with me in this, but she can't be here all the time. She has a life too. And with the open surgery, you almost have to go into some care facility for a while. I mean, it takes you like a good month just to recover, and then you're on like a really strict thing. It takes a long time to get back to going, where you're, being normal. The endoscopic one, you can be out of the hospital in a day or two and walking around again, just taking it easy. Takes a little while to recover, but I mean, within a week, your functions are pretty good again. I went yesterday. We went up to Ann Arbor's VA hospital up there, and I talked with the vascular surgeon, and they looked at everything, and she said that they thought I was a real good candidate for the endoscopic. They couldn't give me 100%, but it looks like it's good, and I got to go up in June to get a couple more tests. And then hopefully by the end of July, August, I'll be able to go up there and they'll be able to do the surgery, and that'll be that. So the good things is, first of all, I've kind of changed my diet a bit. I'm trying to do better on that, and because of that, not only I've been losing a couple pounds, which I really need to do. But I've gotten my diabetes really under control, which is a big factor. My A1C is like in the 6s, and I was in like way over 10. I've got my insulin down to lowest that it's been in a couple years. So that's really good, because diabetes is a mean one. And if you don't keep it under control, it will do things to you that's, So I got that going. I've got my blood pressure where it's really been good. The doctor, because I don't use and abuse things. And then, I've been watching my diet, and the doctors got me on good medicines. So that's been low and been staying low, which is another real big factor. Because blood pressure will make that aneurysm keep getting bigger and ripping up. So that's a good deal. Now my COPD, there's nothing I can do about that. I take my breathers like I'm supposed to, my inhalers. I do everything that I'm supposed to do pretty much. So, for what little bit of exercise I can do, because along with my COPD, my back, and my arthritis, there's not a whole lot I can do with that. And you can get too drugged out, and then you can't do anything anyway. So it's like you gotta kind of go with the pain and kind of push much you can, but then don't overdo it, because then you mess up too. So That's doing, that's that. And in my diastolic heart disease has not gotten worse. So that's a good thing. And getting this aneurysm fixed actually helps with that, because right now my heart's having a hard time pumping the way it should. And when you have that bubble in there, it messes up the system. And so when like on anything, when you get the system where it's running like it's supposed to, the other things can work better. Yeah, so that's with that. I can't think of anything else that goes with this. That's the first thing they asked me. Do you smoke? I said, no, I quit in 2012. She goes, oh, and she was so happy. She goes, oh, you quit? Oh, that's great. I goes, yeah. I goes, but the damage, is already done. And just so you guys know, I'm not one out there. I'm not going to be the preacher and tell you, don't you smoke and you shouldn't, because I know that if you're a smoker, until you want to quit, you can have things happen to you. You can have everybody in the world tell you what's going to happen to you and all that, until you're ready to quit and realize that, hey, I got to stop this. You're not going to quit. It's got to be you. We can sit there and scream at you, till the cows come home, and you're going to go, okay, and you're just going to go light up a cigarette. I mean, that's just the way it is. But, like for me, when I had those instances where I really couldn't breathe, and that was like the bulb went, you really got to stop now. And stupid me, I waited too long. My COPD was already bad. I was already to that point, and there's no reversing it. So, and not only did that, it was doing all this other stuff to me that I didn't know about. It was screwing with my heart. It was screwing with my aorta, which, there you go. Because that's one of the main factors of having aortic aneurysm, is if you're a smoker, because your arteries get to a point where they can't be elastic enough anymore, and the stuff that's in the cigarettes is part of that. You're a big candidate for this. So, all I can ever say, and this is all I ever do, and I'm talking by my experience. You shouldn't do it. And if you're smoking, just consider what's not happening now, but what in a year or two. Do you have plans for 2 years from now? They might change if you're smoking. So if you're smoking, think about quitting. And my goodness, if you're a young person or even an older person that's decided, well, I'm going to have a cigarette or two and it won't bother me, or have a cigar or whatever, don't do it. Don't even start. Don't even, because I'm telling you, one thing leads to another, and before you know it, and it's enjoyable. That's the scary part about it. I can sit there and tell you, oh my goodness, this is horrible. You don't want to do this because no. You smoke, you will enjoy it. And that's the bad part about it. That's why it's so addictive. So just consider, like I said, you heard my story. There's millions more out there. So that's all I'm going to say about that. So, want to give you guys an update on what's happening with me, because, well, right now I'm kind of finishing up my little series I did on the transmitters, on the FM transmitter. I might touch on a little bit of AM stuff, because I'm working on one of those right now too. One that we did before, the one that I got from Rick McWhorter, the schematic I got from him. I'm like doing a little, a little bit here, a little bit there, wiggling and dialing in, and tweaking it a bit for me. And if it looks like that would be interesting, you guys, maybe I'll shoot a video on that too. They're a lot more touchier, but that one that Rick designed, man, oh man, it works. But anyway, so I'm working on that, and there's a couple other things that I want to bring to you if I can. But if you don't, if you don't see me for a while, I might be doing tests, or because sometimes running up there and back, it takes a lot out of you. and you don't feel like going in and doing work on the bench. You don't feel like shooting it while you're doing that, and you don't feel like editing. You don't feel like doing any of that stuff. So, but I'm gonna try to keep crank them out as best I can. And one last thing, then I'm gonna let you guys go. People over the years, you've probably heard on the news that, oh, the VA, these people died because of the VA and they were horrible and all this and that. I've been with them for, well, since I got off my insurance when I was working in the dental lab. I went from my working insurance to using the VA, and they have been great. I mean, great. They've kept me alive. They've kept my health to where I'm not in some kind of a lesson home or something. They've been wonderful, and they continue to be wonderful. So I don't know what the other people's stories are, but I can tell you that they have kept me going, and they have been great. So anytime, if you can do anything to support them, please do. It's one of those things that helps many people that otherwise wouldn't have any help at all, any kind of medical help. And they do other things too. So, all right, with that, everybody, I'm gonna get back into the electronics lab. I'm gonna finish up this stuff with the FM transmitter. And while I'm in between our videos, I hope some of you guys have just tried putting one together. Messing with it a bit. I'm telling you, it's a lot of fun, especially when you get it together and all of a sudden you hear what you're trying to send out, you hear it on your radio, and you go, wow, I'm doing it. That's my transmitter that I built. No, I'm just teasing you a little bit there, okay? All right, everybody, you guys have a good one, and I'll see you real soon. Take care now. Bye-bye.